Rhone. Rhone, 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 Rhone. But seriously, folks, Rhone. You know, Rhone Valley, Southern Rhone Valley. This is a good one because I don't think a lot of you know that there have been all these new appellations introduced in the Southern Rhone. I don't know if we have this sense of clarity. I think a lot of folks may have checked out like when Gigondas became an appellation. But since Gigondas became an appellation, which it deservedly so, right? Because only in that neck of the woods, it was basically Châteauneuf-du-Pape surrounded by a bunch of Côte-Rôtie. And then over the years, we figured out, hey, those Côte-Rôtie vineyards are actually very special and deserved of their own appellation status. So since Vacqueyras was 89? Since like 1989 or so, I mean, you've had all these famous Côte-Rôtie appellations turn into their very own appellations. So these aren't Côte-Rôtie wines anymore. They are appellated. So in the past few years, you've had Rasteau and Vinsaube, and of course Vacqueyras, and of course you've had Rhone. So all of these were top flight Côte-Rôtie appellations for a number of years, but they were producing such great wine. At some point, the French government had to kind of go, oh, okay, yeah, we got to do this. A lot of pressure based on the quality here. So what happened is all these guys became appellations. Rhone became an appellation in 2016. So Rhone definitely at this level shares the same level of authority and quality as Gigondas or Châteauneuf-du-Pape. Now, because you might not be familiar with it, doesn't mean it isn't so. And since 2016, Rhone has been at the level of Châteauneuf-du-Pape from a appellation standpoint in France. And the key is, there's quite a few producers that work at the qualitative level of Châteauneuf-du-Pape within Rhone as well. That's why this area has its own appellation now. Moving forward, one of the best, if not the best producer in Rhone are the Alleries. Domaine Allery. Beautiful, beautiful people, beautiful property, amazing estate. These guys are strictly A-game all the way. And they have been forever. Generationally, 10 generations? 10 generations at least, memory serves, a long time. And they've been in Rhone a long time. And because of that, the vineyards they own are incredible. And they're incredible based on their scope, i.e. these guys were able to suss out multiple different terroirs in Rhone to produce the most complete, compelling wines they can. This is very important, right? You got your sand over here, you got your gravels over here, little galets roulés there, you got some clay over here, etc. So you could literally create the exact wines you wanted to make. This is special, pretty unique. And the Alleries have it in spades. So these are the new releases, the 2022 releases from Allery. Jean-Etienne Allery is kind of like the kid running things now. Denis and those the father and the brother, they're still very active and very involved. But the kid, Jean-Etienne, he's in there, and he trained at Henschke and he trained at a couple other top-notch wineries. This kid knows his shiznit, and there's really not too many changes to make because they're already one of the great classic estates in the Southern Rhone Valley. So it's just little nips and tucks, tweaks, things here and there, maybe a little switch in some of the aging vessels, maybe a little switch with picking times, etc. But the point is, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. So basically, Jonathan, he's the next custodian of these wonderful, wonderful, wonderful vineyards in Rhone. So we're featuring two wines from Allery today that are quite different. And it's very exciting. Because of these different terroirs, we can offer two very different options that are both incredible. So what we have here, it's starting off is the Allery, the straight Rhone Vieille Vigne. This is the Cuvée Vieille Vigne, which I'm not sure if this is the same as the traditional label you would find in Europe or not. But here, at least the importer, Peter Weigand, marks it Vieille Vigne because the vines here are at least 45 years of age, 45 plus. And that's pretty old vines. The key thing here is the blend is your straight up traditional Côte-Rôtie style blend, even though it's not technically Côte-Rôtie anymore. 60 Grenache, 20 Syrah, 10 Mourvèdre, 10 Carignan. The property is blessed with some fantastic Carignan that we may get into a little more at a later date. Wink, wink. But for now, I just want to enjoy this wine. They when we were at Wine Paris and we tasted with them at their booth, we had a fabulous tasting. Obviously, we bought all their wines, but they had like a truffled cheese there that was, it's like the spreadable truffle cheese. It was so yummy, and this, we were drinking these wines with that cheese, and literally we're like doing a half hour at each booth, and like 10 minutes into hanging out with the Alleries in their booth, it was like, can we stay? And Ida Vigant, the importer, she was like, no, we must leave. I was like, can we stay? Like, we didn't want to leave the Alleries. We were like holding on to their legs as they were extracting us from the booth because the wines were so amazing, and that cheese didn't hurt either. But the point is, this is greatness. It's greatness. I mean, these guys are the kings of Chiron, and it shows. Now, what we have here is we have richness, but there's also polish, and there's also verve, right? This is very important as things get hotter in the Rhone Valley. It's super important to impart a sense of freshness and energy into the wines as you're getting these high alcohols, as you're getting these high octanes, as you're working through these intense sunlight vintages. So, and it's so easy. But this isn't just Côte du Rhône, right? There's a level of spice and intensity of flavor and a dedication and concentration to grape growing here that takes this next level, albeit at still at a Côte du Rhône price. This wine's $22. This is a ton of wine for $22. Good gravy. Man, the Southern Rhone, when they're packing, when they're bringing the goods, when they're delivering, it is straight fire. And this is their basic Chiron. By the way, they make Côte du Rhône, they make Vin de Pays de Vaucluse, they do all of this, but the Chirons are next level. And to me, there's a spicy element here, and there's a foresty element, the Mourvèdre. It's only 10%, but the Mourvèdre really makes its presence felt in this wine. That wonderful little hint of forest floor, the complexing hint of forest floor that kind of frames these kirsch and cran raspberry flavors and creates this like complete drinking experience for no money. Damn! Love it! All right, we got 2 wines today, so we're moving quickly. Now we're moving on to the one of their top cuvées, Les Stevenas. And the key thing here is the soil is conducive to growing world-class Syrah. All right? So the first round was 60% Grenache with some Syrah, some Mourvèdre, some Carignan. Here, the blend is at least 50-50 old vine Grenache and old vine Syrah. Could be even more Syrah than that. There were conflicting reports, and I didn't have time to call the winery and get all the specifics. But let it be known that this wine is at least 50% Syrah from vines planted in 1961. So this is a rarity as well, because there wasn't a lot of Syrah planted in the Southern Rhone back in the 60s. Planting Syrah in the Southern Rhone was more, kind of started maybe in the 80s, even into the 90s a little bit. So there's a lot of, it's not young vine, but there's a lot of 35 or 40-year-old Syrah in the Southern Rhone Valley, but there's not a lot of, near 70-year-old Syrah in the Rhone Valley. And this wine just takes it up another notch. This is like Côte-Rôtie and Châteauneuf had a love child. This is so, There's smoked meats, there's a little bit of that bacon fat. There's the pepper, right? There's the spice elements. It's actually pretty Syrah-y today. This cuvée can show differently on different days. Today's like a raging fruit day. And we kind of half believe in the biodynamic calendar. Actually, no, we're not burying cow's horns in our backyards. We're not doing that bullshit. But there are certain days where wines taste different than others. And this is one of those days where the Syrah is really pushing to the front here. You have beautiful old vine Grenache in this wine as well. But the Syrah, because of the quality of the Syrah here, is really making its presence felt. Yeah, today it's more like Côte-Rôtie with a Châteauneuf kicker. Which, I like Côte-Rôtie very much, and I like Châteauneuf very much. And if you push him into like a Twix bar, it's just like You got your Côte-Rôtie in my Châteauneuf. You got your Châteauneuf in my Côte-Rôtie. It's that sort of thing. Adorable. This one is like filthy good. This is like here, Patrick, hand me that bottle behind you, the open one. Now it's more like, because we drank some of this last night. This is Alain Grail's Crozes Hermitage, iconic wine, beautiful Syrah, like the essence of Syrah, and this is literally taking us straight back to last night, having a glass of that wine, but you smeared some Vieux d'Anjou or something in there, man. This wine's sick, like good sick. The kids don't say sick anymore, do they? They say. But this wine definitely isn't sus. This wine's bussin'. It's not sus, and it slaps. Wow, this is gorgeous. You have to try it to believe it. And the key thing to remember here is when you're combining Syrah and Grenache, I've had enough. It can fail miserably. There's a lot of times where those two grapes in a bottle do not talk to each other. They're like both like, arms folded, staring at each other. Here, man, these guys are like, let's get it on. Like, they're into it in this bottle of wine. Absolutely gorgeous, 32 bucks. I think it was like 94 to 96 from Advocate from barrel. Huge, right before bottling, by the way, so it's a tight score. This is, easy. I'm in love. So good. So here you go, two brilliant wines from Allery. This bad boy, the essence of great Côte du Rhône on steroids from one of the best, 22 bucks. And this guy, one of the best mashups of Grenache and Syrah you're going to taste, and it's $32. Huge press, huge everything, beautiful wines, great people. Buy these wines or I will find out where you live and I will come and, like, I don't know, flick the ear of your dog or something like really mean and horrible. So there you go.